something tournament at Lake Palo Pinto. It's not going to be a very big tournament. It's going to be more of a practice thing for me. I do have a bigger one coming up in 3 weeks at Lake Fork, the Native Series, which I'm really looking forward to. It's going to be in November, so we'll see how it is. But anyway, what I want to touch on is preparing for a tournament, and we as kayakers, we need to do more planning than say somebody in a bass boat. And I'm not saying that they don't need to plan as well, but our planning is different because we can't cover the water that they can. Limited to how far we can pedal, how far we can paddle, how far our trolling motor will take us. Any one of those three modes of transportation, we're really only going to go about 4 or 5 miles an hour, so we are limited to the amount of water we can cover. The other option is to portage, where you can fish an area, pull your boat out, trailer it to another location, and put it back in the water. And the problem with that, though, is you're losing 30 minutes to an hour portage time. You're not on the water. If you're in a tournament and you're struggling and you're looking for fish, you have to make a decision of, if I'm going to portage, can I spare an hour of time not on the water? And sometimes if it's a do or die situation, you may need to take that drastic mode and portage to the other end of the lake or other side of the lake or another area. So that's all things to take into consideration. And one of the ways to prepare for this, and the way I prepare, is to pre-plan fishing areas. I look at barometric pressure, I look at wind, I look at temperature, air temperature, and water temperature. What time of year is it? Is the water stained? Is it clear? I want to know that information before I get on the lake. So I will use various before. I will also go to Google Earth, and I have an instructional video on that, how I use Google Earth to map out a lake, and I go to like drought times and low water level times where I can spot some underwater coverage or underwater structure and hot points and different areas that I can't see without being right on top of it with my graph. So I can pre-plan my route. I also pull up a topographical map. I will pull up there's plenty of those free, the USCG topographical maps. You can download those. You can pull them up on your computer, and that will give you the topographical elevations of the lake itself and the structures, and then where the creek channels are, the deep spots, the shallow spots. Combine that with the Google Earth, and we can be smarter as kayak fishermen of planning our routes. And that's the way I prepare for a tournament, is I pull up all that information, and based on temperature, water temperature, clarity, things like that, I decide, okay, I'm going to fish this type of the lake, either whether it be deep or shallow or channels or rocks or whatever. So I have a pre-planned idea of where the fish should be, and then I use Google Earth and the topographical maps to find those areas. I will mark them, and then I've got a pre-planned route. I use the measurement device on Google Earth, so I know how many miles I'm going to be potentially kayaking, how much I can cover, and I know how much I can cover in a day. So I can pre-plan a route with varying structures and hot spots, both shallow, deep, rocky, whatever the different areas that I have planned routes, in order to be the most productive and hit the best spots, and have alternative plans, because sometimes I may think the fish are going to be, say it's high barometric pressure. I know that's going to push the fish down deep. They're going to be deep, they're going to be slower, they're going to be a little more lethargic. So I'm going to need to find deeper structure where the bass will be hanging, and pick my lure selection to knowing that the bass are going to be deep, they're going to be slower. I'm going to rig my rods with baits that are going to go deep and go slow, and plus have a lot of movement to entice those lethargic fish. So when you take all those factors into account, and you pre-plan your route, it makes you a better fisherman on the lake. I also have um, my route will cover many topographical areas. So I know that if I get out there and I find that the fish, for some reason, the fish ended, say the pressure's changed and it's moved up and it's a low pressure, or it's a low pressure now, and the fish have moved up, and maybe it's been cold and all of a sudden we got a nice warm spell, and so I know the areas of the lake are warming up, and the fish are going to move that way, and then maybe they're shallow when I'm planning for a deep bite. So I plan a route that covers a variety of, I want to know all the ambush spots where bass will hang. Where are they going to hang at what time? So when I get out there and as the weather changes, I can adjust my route because I've got everything pre-marked. And if you'll look at my other video where I show you how to use Google Earth to pre-plan a route and find your deep spots and mark your waypoints and stuff, and it really helps you be a better fisherman out on the water. And I mean, it still comes down to getting the right lure, the right color, the right presentation in front of the bass. You know, we still have to use that old school knowledge, but using these new tools that we have available, that the giants of the industry like Bill Dance and Roland Martin and all those guys from back in the day, they didn't have this information. They had it limited. They may have had barometric pressure and topographical maps, and they had flashers, and that was it. And look at the monsters they were pulling in. And so we have so much more so many more tools available to us. So if we use all those tools and use them wisely, we can plan a good route, a good plan of action. And with a kayak, we have to be smarter as a kayak bass fisherman if we're going to get in there and we're going to catch the fish and compete. So, all right, well, this is Stretch Line Bait and Tackle signing out. I'm fixing to grab some sleep before I head out in the morning. Be a 3 a.m. start for me heading out. Always, I want you to always remember, always wear your PFD, stay safe out on the water, pick up your trash, pick up other people's trash, yak it out, and I'll see you on the water.